Alright, what sold this week? We'll start with items on Etsy. I always pick up interesting wood boxes, especially if they're carved or lacquer. This one I got for $1 at a garage sale and is sold for $15. This is a vintage hat pin or stick pin. It came in a lot of items that I got from a local thrift store. It worked out to being about 50 cents per item. It sold for $8. Next is this mug, which has some quilting patterns on it. I picked it up because I figured a person who enjoys quilting would enjoy having a mug that reflected their hobby. It sold in a couple months, so it took a little longer, for $12. This is an etched brass vase that I picked up at a local estate sale for $8, which is a little more than I usually spend, but I had never seen one in this shape or with this kind of etching. I really liked all the animals on it. It was pretty cool. And it sold for $25 in about 3 weeks. Alright, the smeared tray I picked up at an antique mall for $5. I almost always pick up mirrored trays, but I have seen a slowdown in the purchase of mirrored trays. Not sure if styles are just changing or if it's the time of year, but it sold in about 2 months for $20. This item was a very fast flip. I got it at an estate sale for $1 on their 50% off day. I got it listed and it was sold within the week for $20. Another item from that same estate sale that sold very quickly. I almost always sell crewel artwork, which is what this yarn embroidery is, very quickly. I got it for $12. Did have a little bit of scuffing on the frame, but the frame was also really cool. It sold for $35. This cloisonne trinket box was really neat. I liked all of the different colors on it. I don't usually find ones that are this well done, but it sold in a few months for $20. Next is this little planter. I see planters in this shape all the time, kind of this footed egg shape, but I have never seen one with a astrology sign on it. I thought that was different and unique. I got it for 50 cents at a garage sale, and it sold within 4 days for $18. Right, this Lucite Ring is something that I picked up at an antique mall for $4, and it sold within a week for $18. This is from the same antique mall trip as the ring. It's rather small, it's a little bit hard to tell sizing, but it is an original watercolor painting. I almost always pick up vintage items that have cats on them. Cats do well. It sold within a week for $22. These are some hand-painted wooden peg dolls. They had a lot of detail. I got them for $1 at a local thrift store on 50% off, and they sold in about a month for $25. Alright, next is an item that I was listing as an experiment. I went to a live auction a few months ago, and nobody was bidding on a huge lot of movable type and printers blocks. And they even lowered their starting price. Still no takers. I took it for $10, and it was just huge boxes full of all of these printers blocks. I've been sorting through them and selling them off individually. This order they ordered about 12 different letters, and I've already paid for the lot, which is great. So everything from here on out is profit, and I haven't actually sorted them all yet, but I think they will be a good addition to my Etsy shop. And last item that sold this week on Etsy is this pair of receipt holders. They're a little bit smaller scale than some of the ones I've seen before, but still really cool. Love the colors on them. They sold in about a week for $20. I picked them up at a garage sale for $2. Alright, now for the eBay sales for this week. Sold this vintage comic book compilation. I've had it sitting for a little bit. It came as a part of a bulk lot of books that I purchased from an online estate sale. I had already made quite a bit of profit from the book, so I took a best offer. Right, this vintage Empoli glass apothecary jar was actually something I was tempted to keep for myself. I love the blue color. In the end, I decided to list it. I picked it up at an estate sale for $5, and it sold in about a month for $35. Next is this interesting basket. It's probably an item I should have listed on Etsy, but never got around to it. It sold for $21. I had purchased it for 50 cents at a garage sale. Alright, a few vintage photographs were sold this week as well. They were part of the live auction that I went to. I got just boxes and boxes of paper goods and books for $15. And I'm slowly working my way through them. I've already made a profit off of the lot. This is all just kind of gravy, and probably actually the best sellers in the box, but they happen to be at the bottom. This is a vintage photo of Clark Gable from a movie, The Tall Men, and it sold in a couple of days for $20. Another vintage photograph. This one is actually signed by Vera Ellen, and she was in White Christmas. It sold in a couple of days for $23. Sold a couple of these Thomas & Friends train cars that were new in package. Found them at a local thrift store for $2, and they sold for $35. And here is the other one. This was an online estate sale pickup. I have actually sold this puzzle before. It sold for $42 last time, but last time it was not sealed. I had put it all together with my kids to show that we had all the pieces. This one, however, was sealed. Puzzles have gone a little bit down in price. I know that they were high because of COVID and staying at home, but this still sold for a good profit, $45 in about a month. Another vintage photograph. I had listed it for $35. Somebody offered me $30, and I went ahead and took it. This is Ruth Roman. And yet another vintage photograph from Vera Ellen again, also signed, and it sold for $45. This one was larger. It was a 5x7. Some of the others were 3x5s. Right, this is a cross-stitch kit, which I picked up at a local thrift store for, I believe, $1, and it sold for $22.50. I had been asking $25. Next is a jacket. This one is a small size, which is a little bit harder to sell, and it did sit for a couple of months, but I still sold it for full asking price of $25. I picked it up at a thrift store sale when they were selling off their winter clothing items for 75% off, so I paid $2.50. Next is this vintage paint box. I do really well with vintage art supplies. They go very, very quickly, and I can usually get them for a really low price at estate sales because they don't think they're worth anything. They're a great pickup for me. I got this for $1 at an estate sale. It sold in one day for $25. And the last item from this week is this Lululemon T-shirt. I have actually never found Lululemon before at my thrift stores. I think everybody in my area is well aware of its value and doesn't get rid of them. I was at a thrift store and they have a $1 rack for items that they are trying to get rid of. I always go through it and found this one and another shirt which sold the week before on the dollar rack, which really surprised me. I went ahead and picked them up, and this one sold within a couple of weeks for $18.